Okay, what's up, guys? Welcome back to All Nerd Everything. If you're new here, my name's Craig, where I discuss everything from your favorite movies, TV shows, anime, comic books, anything you love, anything you anything you name, I discuss. And I'm here to talk about, as the title says, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, as you guys can see, Spider-Man has been one of my favorite superheroes since I was a kid. He's easily top top five for me. And let me start with the animation for this series, because a lot of people were complaining about the animation. A lot of people were complaining for very different reasons before the series even came out, but the animation is one of them that a lot of people had a problem with, which I think the animation is actually spectacular, no pun intended. But the animation, it's more than what you think it is. I mean, it reminds me of a combination of Iron Man Armin Adventures. If you guys seen that TV series, you need to watch it. It's on Disney Plus, and it was canceled like way too soon. The It's probably one of my favorite Marvel TV series, but it reminds me of a combination of Iron Man Armin Adventures and the Ultimate Spider-Man video game from the 2000s. If you guys know what game I'm talking about, let me know. But that was one of my favorite Spider-Man games. I absolutely love that game. But it reminds me of a combination of both of those things. And what I really love is that the animation gets turned up, gets dialed up a notch during certain scenes in the TV series. Like a lot of fight scenes and a lot of the web slinging looks completely different. The animation looks completely different during those scenes. Like one of my favorite episodes is episode 9, and the animation looks totally different during the fight scene with Spider-Man and Scorpion. And which is another thing I love about this series is the villains. The the main the sole focus of the series is the gang rivalry, and it never felt like the Spider-Man villains overstayed their welcome, because they had one they had one goal of the series, and that was to keep it on, the crime fighting aspect in the gang rivalry that was tearing apart different parts of New York. And the villains, like I said, I mean, we saw several villains throughout the series, Dr. Octavius, Chameleon, but they never felt like they were forced into the story. They all played a pivotal role, but we don't get to see all of his rogues galleries, during the entire series, which I really love that they're taking their time to allow a lot of these characters and even the villains to grow. Like Thomas, for example, um, Thomas, Lonnie Thomas Lincoln, who is Tombstone. He takes it's a different approach to his character in this series. He's a teenager and he's a popular jock, which they did a different take on the jock role, because in a lot of movies and TV series, when they do the jock character, he's always a bully and practical, and always picks on the main protagonist, who so happens to have a crush on his girlfriend, and he's usually always dumb. But in this, it's the complete opposite. Like with Lonnie, we see that he's very intelligent, and he's one of the nicest dudes like ever. We actually get to see his home life, so we get a chance to understand him and sympathize with him, and it takes a difference. I like how they didn't go down the usual, stereotypical trope of the high school jock being a bully and being dumb. and they just did a 180 with it so that we can actually have a chance to sympathize with this guy before he becomes who we know him as, which is Tombstone. And a lot of the supporting characters actually feel like Peter Parker's supporting characters, because in the Tom Holland films it just feels like they gave him characteristics of Miles Morales, which I wasn't really a fan of. But in this series it actually feels like I'm watching Peter Parker as Spider-Man, as opposed to the Tom Holland films where I'm watching it. Tom Holland is playing Peter Parker, but it feels more like Miles Morales. And excuse me, this is completely different in the series. And even the meta commentary is done really well with them acknowledging the Sokovia Accords from Captain America Civil War and discussing how it affects the smaller crime fighting criminals like Daredevil and Spider-Man, and whether we should be Team Cap or Team Iron Man. It's great that the show acknowledged this, because I love when big events like Civil War and Infinity War affect affect the the smaller heroes. I wouldn't say smaller, but like I said, the crime fighting heroes and the rest of the civilian population. And it just reminded me, the whole commentary actually reminded me why the Sokovia Accords was put in place and was established in the first place, and the divide between the civilians and the heroes. I think it's actually pretty smart. The heroes have to be more cautious about, fighting in open areas with civilians, because they don't want to cause collateral damage and be responsible for any deaths. And civilians, it puts them in an uncomfortable place between wondering if heroes are actually doing as good as they think they are, which I love that. I love that. I think that more TV shows and just more, stories, whether it's Marvel or DC should have more conversations like this. And I don't want to give way too much away, but the guy in the chair is Harry as opposed to Ned, which I preferred 100%. And the animation, the changing of the race with the Osborns does not bother me as much as it bothers a lot of other people, because it their race doesn't play a factor in who they are. However, if it did, then I would definitely look at it sideways. But it's really not that big of a deal. The animation for this show is great, and a lot of the characters, especially Dr. Octavius, main he looks like his 616 counterpart. I mean, the resemblance is uncanny. It's amazing. And this series is probably one of my favorites so far. Even the intro, it it feels like its own thing, because it's a remix hip hop version of the original Spider-Man series. So while they pay homage to the original series, they also try to do their own thing with it as well. So the intro is straight fire, and every single intro includes a different comic book cover art from one of the original Spider-Man comic book issues, which I truly love. One of my favorites was, I believe this was episode 7. I can't remember which one, but there's a cover art of in the intro of Peter throwing away his Spider-Man costume, which is definitely one of my favorites. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but when you find out what the Osborns, well, what Norman is up to, it's, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens next in the series when we get a season 2, because there's so much untapped, stories to tell. And even with Aunt May, and Aunt May is keeping a secret from Peter. I don't want to spoil it, but God, when Peter finds out what it is, it's truly going to be mind blowing. So, I mean, my favorite episodes are going to be in the description. Let me know what you guys think. Overall, I give Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man an A. But let me know what you guys think of this TV series. Until then, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to stay updated with new movie reviews, TV show reviews, and also comic book reviews. Until then, enjoy your weekend and peace.